Hi there. I see you've met the stars of the show today. I have oranges, lemons, limes, and butter. Not just any butter. This is Kerrygold butter. It's an Irish butter. It is salted butter, and it is the yummiest butter. It just is really, really good. Now, if you can't get it, you can't get it. Just use any salted butter. Today, I am making a citrus butter coffee cake. It is a yeast dough, still is bread, sort of, but with the filling made from these lovely fruits and the butter and some sugar to fill it. What we're going to get is not only scrumptious, but absolutely gorgeous. So let's carry on. A few weeks ago, you might have watched, or a couple of weeks ago, you might have watched my Panettone video. And if you haven't, give it a watch. The Panettone is absolutely delicious, not very hard to do, and is a spectacular taste and presentation. So I thought, that Panettone dough, that was really good dough. What else can I do with the Panettone dough? Oh, you just noticed my tiara? Well, I had a request from my friend Sari, my baking friend Sari, that I need to wear a tiara. And I know it's weird, but I have one. I was a princess for my 50th birthday party, so I have an actual not diamond tiara. Anyway, so I'm going to use the dough from the Panettone recipe, but I'm not going to add the dried fruit like I did with the Panettone. I'm just going to use the dough and make a filling with these lovely citrus fruits. So I've already pre-measured my ingredients, which are water, 4 egg yolks, scrape, 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 scrape. You want to get everything you possibly can. Out of here. It matters. America's Test Kitchen actually did a comparison of how much they scraped out of the vessel or whatever they used to measure, as opposed to just whatever, getting most of it out. Okay. 8 grams of vanilla. It's about 2 teaspoons. I don't measure vanilla. I just slosh it in. All right, next we start with our dry ingredients. I have bread flour, and I have sugar, regular old granulated sugar, and I have salt. I have salted butter, not unsalted butter, that I lay around the edges. Oops. And the only thing that I did not pre-measure, because I don't like it to be out of the freezer, is yeast. Because this is a sweeter bread, I use the SAF instant yeast with a gold label. If you only have the other kind, don't sweat it. I'm not even sure how much of a difference it makes, to be honest, but I bought it, I use it. So I need 7 grams of yeast. Oop, a little extra. Perfect. And you know that I have a thing about never leaving my yeast under the refrigerator. If you notice, I never even put it down on the counter. Make my little well and put it in. And that's it for the dough. After we turn off the camera, I'm going to go pop it into the bread machine, set it for dough cycle. My machine will do a rest / preheat cycle, which will bring the ingredients all to optimal temperature. And 5 minutes into kneading, and I will set my timer on my watch, 5 minutes into kneading, I will start checking to make sure the dough is not too wet or too dry, and I will add liquid or flour accordingly. The last time I made this recipe, I had to add more flour, but it was a rainy day. It's not rainy here now, who knows, but that's why you have to watch your dough. You cannot just press that button and walk away till it's done. You must check your dough. Okay, so we'll be back checking the dough, and after that, forming it, and I'll show you how I make the filling. Just going to check on the dough. Oh, nice smooth dough ball. Tacky but not sticky, fairly clean bread pan. We are good to go. So it's time to make the sweet citrus filling. And I mean, of course, I could have just done lemon. A lot of people like lemon, or just orange. Lime may be a little less usual, but I wanted the mixed citrus flavor. So to zest, if you've never done it before, we use what's called a microplane, and it is basically a grater with teeny, teeny, tiny little cutting holes, so you get the zest. And so this takes some muscle, so give yourself time. You don't want to be making your filling at the last minute when your dough is going to be ready in 5 minutes. This takes a little while to do, so I think I did about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's about 7, 8, because you don't want to get the white stuff. I'm dripping zest all over. And so I just kind of do it about 7 times and turn it. So I don't think that you want to watch me zest all of this fruit. But by the time I have done both oranges, both lemons, both limes, I'll show you what we're going to do next. So now you see I have a bowl full of naked fruit. Naked fruit. You can eat this. You can cut up the lime and lemon, put it in your water. Don't throw away the fruit. All right. So as you can see, I have tricolor zest, orange zest and lemon zest and lime zest. Now, let's say you hate lime and you don't want to include it. That's totally fine. Just maybe add another orange or another lemon. It will be just fine. And not one fruit comes through in the finished product. You actually taste a really lovely blend. So I'm just mixing up the zest a little bit. And I'm throwing in the sugar. And I weighed it about 75 grams. Yes, I know. Sugar. This is not a healthy diet type of a project here. So I'm just going to mix in that yummy, yummy sugar. And I know this looks like a lot. And I wasn't sure when I made it the first time if I was going to use all of it, but I used every bit of it and it was perfect. In this bowl, I have 1 brick of Kerrygold butter. It's softened. See? Just going to get it a little more ready to go here. And then I'm just going to pour the zest and sugar mixture in. And mix it up. So, zest, sugar, butter. That's all the filling is. It took me about 10 to 15 minutes, no more than that, to do the zesting. I may not look like I'm a strong person, but I work out at the gym and I can lift a decent amount of weight. So I do have strong arms, and I was able to do the zesting, from start to finish. If you do not have quite that capability, you might want to pace yourself, zest an orange, rest for a few minutes, zest a lemon. You have to have kind of a strong arm, and this arm is a little fatigued, but it's not bad. So that's all there is to making the filling. It is a bit of work, like I said, to zest all of that fruit, but it will be so worth it. Oh, I forgot one thing. I'm just gonna put just the tiniest, I'm not measuring or weighing it. I would call that a pinch of salt. You know, because salt is gives a little contrast to the sugar and just heightens the flavor. You don't have to add that if you don't want to. And by the way, the Kerrygold is salted butter. And if you don't have Kerrygold butter where you live, or you don't want to bother, just use regular salted butter. It's fine. But we just, in our family, are huge fans of Kerrygold butter because it is absolutely delicious. It's an Irish butter. Okay, so the filling is all set. It's, you know, bright yellowish, orangish green. And when the dough is ready in about 45 minutes, we'll do the next part. Looks like my dough is rising beautifully. It has 8 minutes left. Woohoo! So we have beautiful dough. It rose absolutely gorgeously. It's not too sticky, but a little bit on the bottom. So what I'm going to start doing is patting it out a bit, and it'll take a while for the gluten to relax, but I'm going to roll this into one big rectangle. In the meantime, what I will need for tools, I will need obviously extra flour for sprinkling, need a rolling pin. I always have a bench scraper on hand. I'm not sure if I'm going to use it or not, but I probably will. And mystery of mysteries, this pizza cutter. And you'll see why when I have this all rolled out and ready to spread the filling on it. I am not good at getting a rectangle out of my dough. And usually it doesn't matter. When I make cinnamon rolls, I don't care what kind of a blob it is, because when I roll it up, it's fine. But I did, and this isn't even a perfect rectangle, but I did cut some dough off, which I will make a mini something or other with maybe another filling. So I've rolled out most of my dough in this mostly rectangle. I tried. And I'm just going to simply spread. I want to use my smooth side, yeah, because this has a serrated side and a smooth side. So I'm going to spread the filling. Neil's finger painting in the flour. That's all over in my messiness. And we're going to come back in a second when I've finished spreading, so you don't have to watch that whole thing. Can you turn it off? So as you can see, I'm just about done, and the awkward ending of the last segment, Neil wasn't paying attention to his videography because he was finger painting in the flour on my counter, because the messy aspect drives him crazy, even though I'm baking and it needs to be messy. There, you've been shamed. Okay, put that aside. And now comes the fun part. I have a bundt pan. You don't have to use a bundt pan. This is just what I'm doing. The first time I made this, I just sprayed it really well, and I was so nervous the whole time that it wasn't going to come out, that this time I sprayed and I put parchment and I sprayed some more. In this circumstance, I am not going to flip it over and have the bottom as the top as you usually do with the bundt pan, and you'll see why. So that's all prepared. And I'm hoping I can make this come out even. But what I'm going to do, and this is, I'm going to spread some flour down here. So I am going to, oops, let me just get the edge a little better. And, all right, I'm gonna grab some paper towel because my fingers are going to get very ooey gooey buttery and I will need to wipe them off in between. Okay, so I'm going to use the pizza cutter and I'm going the short way, not the long way. I mean, I guess you could do it either way, but I'm gonna cut approximately 1 inch strip. And I'm going to pick it up, put it over here. Cut another one. Pick it up, put it over here. And I'm going to kind of push that into it. And I'm going to cut a third one. And put it over here. 3 strips, end to end. Then I'm just going to roll. And here is where my fingers will eventually get super buttery. And you can see I'm squeezing it like this to kind of, you know, if I'm not rolling super straight. Don't worry if at a junction it doesn't attach. You're just going to roll right over that, kind of hold it till you get it settled into the next part. And you could do cinnamon rolls this way, by the way. No reason not to. And looks like that. So pretty. Looks kind of like a rose. I'm just going to stick it gently into the bundt pan. And I'll wipe my fingers off and do the next one and hope that I come out even. Because sometimes you never know. The first time I made this, I had 4 wind up roll, whatever you call it. Did I pre-measure it out to plan like some of you will? Nope. I sometimes just prefer to fly by the seat of my proverbial pants. Get some down there. All right. And this is going to be over there. So I'll start rolling this and then I'll put this second one in and then I'll finish it with the camera off so you don't have to watch every single solitary second because we know that gets a little tedious. You don't need to see this all the times I'm going to do it. All right. My fingers are very citrus buttery. All right, and that's gonna go there. And we'll be back when I've been finished. So the engineer videographer husband wants me to tell you that the dough that I rolled out was about 20 inches by 10 inches. And it was, I don't think it's a 1/4 inch thick, but maybe it is. Let's look at that so far. I'm gonna cut some more. And we'll be back. So it's all assembled, and now we need to let it rise. I'm gonna grab this, and if you've seen this part a million times, you can fast forward, but this is how I let it rise, by slightly warming my oven. Turn on the oven, bake 170. If you have a proof setting on your oven, you're lucky, just use that. Turn it on the lowest temp, which is 170 on mine. Set it for 1 minute. You do not want it to warm for more than 1 minute because it will get too hot and it'll kill the yeast and you will have a flop after your beautiful hard work, and we don't want that. Wait till you see what this looks like risen, and then really wait till you see what happens when it's baked. It is gorgeous. Did I sound like Oprah? Gorgeous. So we got about 25 seconds left. And when this goes off, I'm just gonna pop it in the oven and set a timer for 40 minutes. So it has risen for about 45 minutes. And you can see that some of them have gone topsy-turvy, but when it bakes, it'll puff up and get golden brown, and it will be rather spectacular if it looks the same as it did on my first try. So the first thing I'm going to do is egg wash. I don't always egg wash, but I almost always egg wash because it helps give a beautiful golden brown, as no doubt you already know. And I am preheating my oven to 350 right now. And I'm going to hit it with my Swedish pearl sugar that I just think is so beautiful. Don't have it, don't have to. You could sprinkle it with any sugar. You don't have to sprinkle it with any sugar. You didn't have to form these the way I formed them or even put them in a bun pan, did you? You could have rolled them out like cinnamon roll style. You could do whatever tickles your fancy. I could just make them in a round pan without the bundt. I don't know. I just think it looks pretty this way. And wait till you see when it's baked and you'll see what I mean. Oh, I forgot to put my tiara back on, didn't I? Darn. I took it off because I think it was giving me a little bit of a headache. All right, so I'm gonna push this aside. And with the rest of the dough, I just kind of messed around, literally. So there's one that has the citrus there that it just didn't fit. And then hopefully there's not a lot of citrus in the egg wash. I'm just gonna rinse the brush. And in this one, I put a new product I just found. It's a vanilla bean tahini, which is sesame paste. And if any of you know what the candy halva is, it tastes like vanilla halva. And then the chocolate is a chocolate tahini paste, which is like basically chocolate halva. So I was excited to find these recently. I learned about them on a nut-free page. I don't want to spread the chocolate too much, so that's why I'm just kind of doing it this way. Not that it really matters, it's just for us to eat at home here. All right, I'm just gonna sprinkle my little pearl goodies. I just kind of made a U-turn with that. And this one, you can't really tell, but I made a U, sort of filled it, rolled it up, made it into a U, cut both parts and twisted them, but it doesn't really, like a babka, but it didn't really turn up looking that way because I crowded it into this little Pyrex pan, but it doesn't matter. They will be yummy, yummy, yummy as a treat for us today. And then after I cut into the citrus butter coffee cake later when it's cooled and I show you, and I'm gonna give it away because I have already half of one in my freezer and we shouldn't eat that much of it. All right, I'm gonna put these into bake when the oven heats and you'll see the final product. It's nowhere near done. I just wanted to show you how pretty it's gonna be. So excited. I have baked it at 350 for 30 minutes, but I know for sure it's not done on the inside yet, so I'm going to tent it. Just lay that over the top to make sure the top doesn't get brown. I've turned the temp down to 325, and I set my timer for another 15 minutes, and I will check it then with a thermometer. Does it get any prettier than this? Okay now, and I wish you could smell it because it is heavenly. It doesn't smell like orange or lemon or lime. It just smells citrusy, and I really feel like the lime heightens the flavor profile somehow. It's because it's a little different. I'm going to wait to take it out of the bundt pan for quite a while because I get a little nervous that it's gonna go bloop and fall apart. So when I take it out of the bundt pan and I hit it with some powdered sugar, yeah, I know, overkill, but it looks pretty. I will show it to you. And here's my little, my extra dough part thing. This is the citrus and the vanilla tahini, and that's the chocolate stuff. So I just played around. I didn't really care what it looked like because we're just you see how soft and wonderful this bread is. It has those little stretchy things, and that means it's super, super fluffy and soft. So this is my little citrusy one, and then this is my vanilla halva, and that's the chocolate one. I've removed it from the bundt pan. You can see it in all its gorgeousness. And in a couple hours, when it's completely cooled, I will show you what the inside looks like. When I made it the first time, I did use all the dough, so it was a little bit higher. So if I had rolled the entire piece of dough into that rectangle, this would have been just a little bit bigger, but nevertheless, it looks perfect to me. Well, here we are. It's cooled, I think it's cooled. I've taken it out of the bundt pan. The parchment really helped. I let it cool for quite a while in the bundt pan because I'm afraid that it might not stay together and I want it to stay pretty. So I cooled it on a rack. It's been about 2.5 hours since I took it out of the oven, so it's been a while. I always like to present pretty things on a pretty plate with a doily. I know doilies are old-fashioned, but when you buy a package of 100, it lasts you for the rest of your life. Anyway, so the moment we have all been waiting for. Now, my husband usually says, slice it, but I want to pull it apart. So, ready? He's going to come in close. Should you right here? I'm just going to and I'm going to do this. And you can see all the citrus yumminess. It's soft. See that? Oh, yeah. There are slightly crispy parts, like the crust right here. It's soft inside. I wouldn't call it gooey, but it is definitely buttery. Like, it's not greasy, but it's buttery and soft. You're not feeling greasy butter or anything like that, but it's nice and tender. And I just demolished it, but I just wanted you to see really what it is like inside. And now I'm gonna taste. I mean, this is the second time I've made it, so I know what it tastes like, but this is so amazing, you guys. You will not be sorry if you make this. I want to tell you, just remember, you don't have to make it in a bundt pan. You could make it like cinnamon rolls. You could make it in a round cake pan. I don't want to choke here. You could do it any number of ways, but the citrus filling with the butter and the sugar is just absolute heaven. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you haven't subscribed to my channel already, please do so. Make sure your notifications are turned on so that you are always aware that there's a new video. And I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.